What if you can get better and more pro-looking edits with just a couple of changes to the way that you're already editing your photos? Well, I spent years tweaking my workflow across thousands and thousands of photos. And my friend, these are the small shifts that make massive upgrades. Basically, they're simple to use, ridiculously effective, and they definitely feel like cheating. All right, my friend, welcome to Lightroom. This is where we feel the best. And the first tip that I'm going to show you is fairly new, and it blew my mind when this upgrade came because this saves you so much time. So take a look at this photo right here. What do you see? You see that your dirty little friend, that's me, has a really smudgy lens. Like, this is just embarrassing to show you this, but take a look at this here. My lens and my sensor wasn't clean this day, and I'd been out in the wilderness for quite some time, so it just looked like this. Now, if you want to remove this, it's no problem. You go up here, and you can use the mode. You don't have to use generate AI, and you just click here, click here, click here, and it starts to remove. This is the dust removal tool, and it's up here. But Lightroom just introduced a way to remove all of this with just a click of a button. It's so good. This is what makes me happy, you know. But down here, you see, you have dust, okay? If you click it here, go down, you can basically just click apply, give Lightroom a few seconds, and boom. You see this? This is amazing. By the way, I made a free 33-day email series to help you become a better photo editor. It's one short tip a day, and it's totally free. You can find it in the description down below. All right, tip number 2. But here you can see I have a photo. We're working with photos, you know. But what you notice too is that I had a polarizer on the drone. So what that does often is that a part of the sky becomes much darker due to the polarizer, and one part is brighter. It can look cool and be an artistic choice, but I prefer if we can even it out. And that's where we're going to use a slider called variant slider. So in the color mixer, you go to point color, and what you do, you take the selector tool right here, and it's best for this to pick a neutral color of the colors that you want to change. So for instance here, I just go to the middle, not the brightest blue, not the darkest blue, here in the middle somewhere, and I click that. And then you can see we have a bunch of sliders, and the newest is the variant slider. So what this slider does, if you move it down, you are making the colors more similar. You see this? Basically, it feels like it pushes the colors and spreads them out, making them a lot more similar. And this is just prettier. You see, this is before, like this, and this is after. Take notice though that I'm of course going to -100 for the sake of the tutorial. Maybe you wouldn't want to do this extreme. Now you might be sitting there then wondering to yourself, but what, Mr. Icelandic guy, happens if I take it in the other direction? That's a perfect and a really good question. What happens then is that we do the exact opposite. We push the color further away from each other. So in this instance, you take it up here, and you can see that now we're making these blue a lot more darker or different shade of blue, and down here a much brighter. Now this can be used in so many different scenarios. Now here I have a shot of a forest floor, and it's green, but the different shades of green. Now if I wanted to push colors more towards each other and have just one unified color, I could do point color, take the hit here, I take the green that is like most neutral in this case, not the like first the lime and not the most yellow, somewhere here, and with the variant slider, I would push it down here, and it becomes more cohesive. Is that the English word? Cohesive. English, not my first language. But you can see that it becomes more unified. But if I want to make more color contrast, I can use this slider too to go up here, and now we get a lot more color separation, which is also really cool in landscape photography. And in portraits, you can use this to even out skins. Often skins is not totally perfect. My skin often gets the red patches here, so if I take a photo of me and then I pick a color that is pretty neutral, I can even them out and take away these red patches and get an even looking beautiful skin tone. So this next tip, we can use this photo. This is just an unedited raw photo. You can see that I have dust here, but now my friend, we know just to apply dust and it removes it for us. Oh, so good. You're always learning, you know. And it's also totally crooked and I can't look at it like this, so let's straighten it out. Anyway, it's also, he's not in the middle, so let's just do it quickly like this here. So what I'm going to show you here is a tool that has been around for quite some time, and I think it's fantastic. When it came first out, it wasn't perfect, but I feel like it's always getting better and better and more accurate with every upgrade. And it's this mask right here. So if you go to mask and you click object right here, you can just paint on the object very, very quickly. It does not have to be perfect, and Lightroom creates a perfect mask around the object. You see, this is just absolutely amazing. Now, I might be sitting there wondering to yourself, but this is really cool, but why not just go and click the subject and select the subject there? Now, the main reason is that you might be wanting to pick something that is not the subject in the photo. Also, I feel like the subject mask here is often a hit and miss. And it does include everything that the Lightroom thinks is the subject. For instance, if we click on this photo, you can see that it adds this little thingy right here. You can see the difference of these masks. This is a perfect mask around this. And here, this one adds a tiny bit of this here. I don't know why. All right, so tip number 4. I call this subject pop like a ninja. I have no idea what the name of this is, but it's just such a fantastic way to manipulate the contrast and manipulate the light in a really, really realistic way on your subject. So take a look at this photo right here. So I have a ton of masks. I often show this photo. It looks like this, and then I'm taking full control of the light. There are a lot of masks that goes into this. One of them is just on the subject here. So if I zoom in, we can zoom in more. That was not zoomed in enough. Like here, take a look. I take this and this. So the problem with this photo was that I didn't really have, the sun wasn't out. I waited for, I think, 40 minutes, but the sun didn't peek through the clouds. So I faked it. So basically what's happening is this. So first thing that I do, I take the object slider and we are gonna create a mask around this subject right here. Something like this, okay? And that gives us a perfect mask around the subject. Now what I want to do is that I want to brighten the subject from the same side as the sun was coming from. So on this photo right here, the sun was in this direction right here. So the light is in this direction. So I have to right click on the mask. We go to intersect mask with, and then we intersect it with a linear gradient filter. So now we're making two masks collide with each other. So now when I drag it here, if I press H so you can see what's happening, where these two masks meet, that's where the magic happens. But what's happening now is that because of the gradient filter, I can, if I just show you with the exposure all the way up. So this is what's happening. Here, nothing happens. But as soon as they start to hit with each other, it collides here. And with the gradient filter, I can make it gradually, the light source come here and gradually become less and less, like it rolls off the building, like it would in real life, you know? So that's what I've done here. And then on the other side, I just did the opposite. So again, we create the object, we create a mask around the object like this, and then right click, intersect mask with, and we intersect it with a linear gradient filter in this direction now, just like so. And then now we can take down the exposure and down the contrast. And now we're bringing darkness to the shadow side and we're brightening up the bright side. And it's just, this is magic, my friend. If this is not magic, then what is magic? All right, so tip number 5, my friend, is something that I use a lot. And it's fantastic. So for instance, this photo right here. Here we have the subject, this little sheep. And if I were to, maybe I wanted to darken the foreground right here and the side here. So what I could do is to just use a linear gradient filter and we do it like this and we take down the exposure. Now, what I don't like about this in this scenario is that I think it looks a little bit weird that we also make a ton of shadow on the subject itself here. But my friend, what we can do, we can actually place this mask just behind the subject. So the subject stands out from the mask and we darken things behind it. And the way that you do that, there are multiple ways. One way that you can do is to click on it, minus, take the object and just take away this object right here. And it creates a mask around the sheep. Look, if I show you it with O here, now it's just affecting behind it. And if I take it all the way down, you can see what's happening. Take O off, and this is what's happening. It is beautiful. This is like, wow. And now the cool thing is, it's like this all the time. You see? So this is basically the effect that we are doing. Isn't this beautiful? This is art. Now the thing is, this is useful in so many different scenarios. For instance, on this photo right here, I wanted to isolate the subject by giving this mask right here. So this mask is a ton of dehaze, but I didn't want it to affect the subject. So this photo has 3 layers. You have the foreground here, you have the middle ground where the subject sits, and then there's a clear background as well. And I wanted to emphasize on that 3-dimensional and these layers that we have in this photo. So what I did, I created a gradient mask. I can just remove it and we can do it again. I created a gradient mask just like this, linear gradient filter, and I took it down. And then to emphasize on the haze, I dragged down the haze. So this is basically what's happening. And I'm isolating the subject. Now I didn't want it to go on the subject itself. I wanted the subject to stand out. And in this case, I think that I actually just did minus and minus the subject. I think I did that here. Yeah, and it removed the subject from the tree. and boom, we have a beautiful mask that is not affecting the subject itself. By the way, if you want to learn how to make edits that will make your friends and clients name their firstborn child after you, then my friend, you should check out my full Lightroom masterclass. This is everything that I learned about photo editing for the past 10 years, both for myself as a hobby because I love this thing, but also as a professional editor for clients. And the best part is it's packed into a simple step-by-step course that actually shows you not just what to do inside of Lightroom, but also how to think. So if you ever felt like editing is overwhelming or that your photos never quite match the vision that you have in your head, or even if you're already a solid editor but you want to take it to the next level, then my friend, this course is made for you. At the time of the recording, almost 600 photographers have gone through it, which is just wild to me. And I got this photo sent by a student the other day who told me he'd applied everything that he learned, and you can just see the before and after. This is just fantastic. Anywho, I can confidently guarantee that this class will massively improve your editing skills in just 30 days. If not, I will give you your money back. Yes, my friend, I'm that confident. So if you're interested, there's a link down in the description where you can check it out. And yeah, let's move on to the next tip. So this next tip is something that I do to almost all of my photos, and it's making that extra step to make the photo extra just clean and this mwah. You know the photo when you see it, you just go like, mwah, mwah. This is what you do to them to get that mwah type of reaction, you know? So this is the photo that I shot the other day. And this is kind of the before. This is not edited, but take a look at the difference. Not the edit, but can you see things that are done? For instance, you see this thing here. Where is it here? It's gone. And this thing right here, I removed it. And then also this thing here. Basically what I'm doing, I'm taking time to clean up the image to remove what I call distractions. They can come in all shapes and forms. And for instance, this photo right here, this one was clearly a distraction. It's in the way of the main subject. And what you do in Lightroom, you go up here to the spot removal tool, you go to the mode here, and then I suggested use generative AI for things like this. It's just superior to the old way, was just like clone and stamp tool kind of. And you just paint it like this and let Lightroom do its magic, you know? And then you can go over it and find other ways. Okay, you want to remove this here. Maybe you want to take this away and this away. You get the idea. And for instance, this photo right here, I shot the other day. This is the first photo, all right? And take a look at the before and after what I'm removing. So I take here and take a look at the straws in the water. You see this? This took ages. So basically what I did here, there was no generative AI. I just clicked on the brush tool. But what you're doing is cleaning up the image and making the water just much cleaner. And this can come in so many different shapes and form. And then it looked like this. I did some color grading. And then the last pass I did like this. And you can see that here I did even more. And I removed more, and at end off we got this clean, nice water. And if you're doing urban landscape or street type of photography, then there are so many different things that you can remove, like trash bins or whatever that don't look good. Then you just like, bah, take it away, and the photo becomes just mwah. This is design, you know, mwah. Tip number 7, it has to do with this denoise tool. Now, denoise nowadays is just ridiculous. When I got into this, denoise was meh. I mean, if I went to a photo club and was like, hey, this photo shot with ISO 800, people went like, 800? That is nuts. Nowadays, you can pump it up crazy. Both, of course, the cameras can handle more ISO, but also denoise nowadays is just ridiculous. Especially click here, and this is like some AI denoise, and it just makes it beautiful. The problem is though, if you take it too hard, you just take it up to 100 and I can show you, the photo comes very, very creamy, it loses its details, and it comes like a painting kind of, which I don't like. Now, of course, you can just take it a little bit less, but one little trick that I do is that I reintroduce sharpness after denoise, and I feel that we get best of both worlds. We get the denoise and we take away that noise, but we also get some oomph in the sharpness as well. So for instance, let's say that I have denoise here in the 40, okay? Then I come down here to the sharpening slider and I drag that one up. I can drag it up quite a lot, and then I take the masking slider, which usually sits in null, that is not English, 0 at default, and I move it up here. So what this masking slider does, if you hold an Alt on your keyboard, you can see, basically you're just telling Lightroom not to make the entire photo sharp. So at 0, everything that is white here that you see is getting sharpened, but we move it up and less of the image is being sharpened. And I like to have it quite high. Maybe I'm up to 60 and you can see we're just sharpening the outlines and some other stuff. And that, my friend, is a really, really cool tip to not sharpening the entire fucking photo. Sorry for my French, but just some parts of it while getting that denoise as well. Mwah. Now, most photographers, they learn this and they get comfortable and stop. But my friend, that is actually a huge mistake. You see, I used to suck at photo editing until I learned this thing right here.